Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and so far on this channel we've been closely tracking the class's performance within PvE content as well as PvP content of the patch 10.2. We've been able to cover and highlight some of the more stronger classes for Mythic Plus dungeons, and today I wanted to highlight even more class specs, but this time for the PvP, arena, and battleground content instead. Specifically, when I want to highlight some of the stronger classes, I mean some of the more terrifying, the burstiest classes that could potentially surprise you whenever you walk into your next solo queue shuffle. While currently there are many competitive specs out there for this Season 3, some of them are just downright terrifying and monstrous, which made me want to put them under the spotlight in case you're looking for the next alt to play for the patch 10.2. But right before we highlight some of the strongest, most powerful classes for PvP in the Season 3, most of you guys watching these kinds of videos are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do, so let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you're watching these videos anyway, especially if you want to get more regular content regarding Dragonflight 10.2 or any of the future updates going forward. And the first class to be the highlight of the Season 3 will be the Havoc Demon Hunter, which have found themselves to be quite vicious but also flexible within the newest season. Havoc Demon Hunters are fantastic when it comes to burst damage to surprise your targets out of nowhere, with big impactful abilities such as the Hunt, Elysian Decree, as well as Essence Break together with Blade Dance, and all of these abilities can benefit from the new inertia-focused gameplay. Besides burst, however, Demon Hunters also have fantastic sustained damage, whether it is from the bleeds generated by the Glaive Toss ability or from the passive melting power of the Immolation Aura, which gives Demon Hunters a very versatile damage kit that allows them to either put pressure immediately against the target or slowly whittle down their entire enemy team. Together with the ability to control entire groups, whether with AoE stuns, single target stuns, imprisons, or the Sigil of Misery, as well as just enough defensives and an immunity in order to help them get out of tough situations, allows Demon Hunters to stay in combat situations far longer, to exert immense amount of pressure against the enemy team, which can sometimes be just about all you need to entirely win over an encounter. As of right now, Havoc Demon Hunter is the most popular PvP spec for the current season, and unless we see some impactful nerfs going forward, I doubt that they'll be dethroned anytime soon. But besides Demon Hunters, another class worth mentioning is the Unholy Death Knight, which became an absolute powerhouse within 10.2. One of the biggest changes to grace this class has been the adjustment to their damage profile for this newest season. Back in 10.1, Death Knights had to wrestle with two playstyles. For dungeons and raids, the class was tuned heavily around their big, massive 3-minute cooldowns, but in PvP, their profile had to shift and rebalance itself towards more sustained focused gameplay. However, as of 10.2, their PvE, dungeon, and raiding build is now more sustained focused, which allows some of their PvP buffs to overlap together for an entirely new powerful playstyle, which allows them to create big emphasis on base abilities such as their diseases, their festering wounds, their clawing strikes, as well as their death coils, which in turn allows them to create opportunities for massive burst situations. The biggest drawback for Unholy Death Knights, however, is the fact that they are a glass cannon. They have a lot of firepower but can be quite fragile and will require an unreliable healer in order to help them unlock their full terrifying potential. The next class spec worth highlighting is the Frosty Mage, which has recently seen a few more buffs as of the patch 10.2. The most recent Frost Mage adjustment allows them to increase the damage of the Frost Bomb by 80%, as well as gives them a little bit less RNG between certain talent interactions, but helps them output far better and more consistent damage. And ever since this set of changes, Frost Mages have been on the rise as of recently, with the spec finally gaining a much better competitive standing. Like all mage specs, Frost Mages are very burst oriented thanks to their Shatter mechanic, which allows their abilities to have a higher chance to crit when used against frozen target. The spec is filled with other abilities which benefit from the Shatter playstyle, like the Ray of Frost, which deals a ton of damage, as well as Comet Storm, which adds a little bit more impact. And what really helps all these abilities come together is the PvP talent of Snowdrift, which is a rampy stun freeze effect that takes a little bit of time to encase your enemies in ice. But once they are stunned, they are also treated as frozen, which allows them to maximize their shatter benefits within PvP. Normally, Snowdrift has a bit of a ramp up, which makes it naturally much harder to execute than some of the other crowd control spells and abilities. But when combining your crowd control together with Fire Breath, the Ring of Frost, maybe even Polymorph while using Glacial Advance to move while casting, it does allow you to set up an elaborate combination that the enemy will need to trinket. However, if they don't have a way to break out a crowd control or don't have any immunities on hand, it will guarantee result in a wondrous Frosty one-shot. However, talking about Dragonflight PvP without mentioning rogues seems like a crime. While Subtlety rogues are the more popular spec of scoundrels that many of you will run into, they are, however, not the most terrifying version of rogue, as that award goes to the spec of Assassination. Compared to Subtlety, Assassinations are less of an escape artist, but far more deadly than Subtlety ever could be, ever since their bleeds and their entire playstyle has been redefined, revamped, and buffed up for the patch 10.2, which allows all of the bleeds and damage over time abilities to be far more impactful. Together, the main primary offensive ability of Deathmark, which allows the bleeds to duplicate, creates a very strong single target combination, as well as the talent of Sudden Demise, which gives their bleed effects an execute window. If the enemy is ever caught below 10% of their health, and if the bleed damage taken overshadows what's left of their health bar, the enemy is executed there on the spot, which allows this spec to pounce on their prey, bleed them up and tear them apart, as well as inject them with powerful toxins and poisons, and then disappear into the darkness like nothing's ever happened, while their target melts slowly over time until they eventually meet their inevitable demise. And for my final class spec to highlight for this video, it was really a bit of a toss-up. My pick is Elemental Shaman, the Warlocks, Hunters, and many others could have easily made this video. But for me, the spec of Elemental Shaman has gained a very powerful tier set for the patch 10.2 that allows the Primordial Burst to execute free Elemental Blast as well, and allows the Lava Burst to deal additional damage as well as cleave to multiple targets. Altogether, this allows them a fully instant cast burst combinations of Earth Shocks, Frost Shocks, as well as Lava Bursts that not only barrages the enemy with a ton of damage, but also fully controls them, as Earth Shocks followed by Frost Shocks are going to root the enemy targets, together with their ability to toss around the enemy team like beanbags all around the arena with their knockback abilities, as well as the Burrow defensive, which makes Elemental Shamans a little bit safer within arenas. But let's also not forget the randomness of their Ascendance procs, where once procced, Shamans can absolutely dominate their enemy targets with just massive barrages of lava bursts in every direction. As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or hang out with the rest of the community to discuss some of the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.